Hello everybody, this is the behind the scenes series where I go into how to create an NFT project and how we're creating our project City Clash. And so by the time this video is out, this should already have been launched, and so hopefully things went well, we'll see. But this will kind of be the behind the scenes as we're actually creating it. And so in this video, I wanted to kind of go into the actual code of the Solidity contract of how this NFT mint kind of works. And I've been working on this. I have two buddies working on the project, and out of us three, I've been the main person working on the contract. And so obviously that's really working with a lot of the Web3 technology and some of that stuff that maybe you want to learn about. And so we're going to kind of go into how that works here. The cool thing about contracts is everything is open source. Everything's open on the blockchain, so you can just go and look at our code and see how it works. So I might as well show it to you here because there's nothing to hide. Maybe you'll learn as we go through this, and I'll kind of talk about my thinking through this as why we decided to set up things this way for our project. So first off, we are implementing the ER7721 enumerable. And so this is something actually that we kind of want to get away from in a way because from our research, we've seen that the enumerable implementation takes quite a bit more gas to mint and transfer tokens. So hopefully there's a way we can kind of update this to get around some of that, but that's currently how I'm using it. And also we're using ownable, which this basically allows you to set functions that only you as the owner of the contract can hit those functions. So you have to have the right address on your wallet to be able to actually use these functions. So you'll see kind of when we use those. Now going to kind of the main mint functions for our NFT. We have three different mints. The public sale, so this is obviously like the main one where people can mint and get their NFT. We have an early access mint. So these are people that we add to an early access list. So you can see we have this mapping, early access minted. That's the counts. There should be a list, is on early access list. And so you can see we can add addresses and just basically set up that people are actually on that list. And then if they are, they can go ahead and mint. And how these requires work, if you're not familiar with Solidity, it's kind of like an advanced if statement where it's checking like if this thing is true, but at the same time, it's also requiring it to where if it's not true, it's just going to jump you out of the function, kind of like an if statement that then returns. So on each of these, you can see we have multiple requires. We're requiring multiple things to happen for them to actually successfully mint. And so you'll see that with all the different mints. And then some of these functions is we have a founder mint. And so we want to, be able to give some mints to us, the founders, so that we can, have them for giveaways, probably keep a few ourselves so we can play as part of the game as well. But you can see here, this is where we just set this variable that we're going to allow 15 mints for the founders. You can also kind of see some other variables. Like right now we're having a max of 2,000 cities. And then this is the public cities, which is minus those founder mints. And then for each mint, we're setting the max per address to be 5 because we want, decent amount of people to be able to get in. And then the max for early access is 3. So these are kind of just, it makes sense to have your variables that you can see kind of all those top numbers. Right now, we're setting the mint price to 0.12 since there is less NFTs, but we'll see how we kind of decide to change it as we go. And that's actually something that we can change. You can see set mint price. We can actually set this, and this is where we use that ownable implementation where only we can actually call these functions. And that's really important because these are kind of like settings functions where we're setting variables, things like that. You can see like set the public sale timestamp. So this is like, we'll actually set this and then it will go live at that timestamp. And you can see if we go to the mint again, public, early access, there should be a spot where we're actually seeing, is it past that timestamp? Let's see. Nope, it's not in the mint. Oh yeah, it's this when early access active. This is a function, a modifier function that does that. And then when public sales active, you see it's actually checking to see if that's actually open based on the timestamp. So if that makes kind of sense. And then, trying to reuse code, you can see each of these mint functions call our own mint, which is an internal function, which means no one else can call this except our contract internally. And this is where we're actually kind of creating the NFT for this person. We're setting some data for their city that, each NFT is going to be a city, and it's going to have some metadata on it. And so we're setting some of that data, but at the mint, it's going to be kind of like a placeholder until we've actually added all the actual real data for it on the reveal. And then we call the safe mint, which comes from the ER721 token implementation. And then we're keeping track of each ID with its city, so saving that data. So I think I'm probably going to be changing a little bit of this up, but that's kind of the first version of this that we have working and going. And so yeah, that's kind of how this works. Kind of going back to why do an early access? Well, the thinking behind early access, more and more projects have been doing this, mainly because when you have everyone trying to mint at one time at the public sale, it basically makes the gas price of Ethereum just go way up, because everyone's trying, if you have 10,000 people trying to mint all in the same 5 minutes, it's really going to make the network kind of go crazy. And so people are doing these early access whitelist kind of mints where people can mint the whole day before the public sale. And to get on that list, you kind of have to help the project in some way. And it's kind of a good way to incentivize early people to the project to kind of help spread the word about the project. And then that gets them on the early access list. And so we're going to do that. It's a good way to save on gas as well. And we'll kind of figure out how many people we want to send on this list. But you can see one of these functions, if I can find it. Add to early access list. So this is something that only we can do, where we'll just take a list of addresses and just add them to this list, and then only these people can mint on the pre-sale. So that's kind of how that works. And this is kind of the main NFT contract here. And so you can see over here, there's 4 other .sol files, which I'll kind of go through some of those in some other videos to kind of explain that. But this is the main one, all about the minting stuff for City Clash. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any comments or replies, feel free to leave them down below.